Hello everyone. So I've obviously been making videos updating you on where the league's at with the NHL coming back, and I found it very hard to find information on the return of every other league and what the situation is of those. And these are the sort of the pro leagues and the minor leagues. So this is as detailed as videos I can find on most of the European leagues, the junior leagues, and the minor leagues. So yeah, this is like the giant COVID update of the current situation in all of those places. So NHL, if you do want to know that, I've just released a video on the current situation there. So link in the description down below if you want to go that. So I'm obviously not going to repeat myself there because that video literally just came out. So let's go with the AHL, the minor league to the majors of the NHL, the AHL. They have announced a start date of February the 5th. But that was done a while ago. That was at the end of October. There's not been any real news from that since then. Probably look for some news in January, but I'm assuming they're waiting for the NHL to get started before they'll even think about returning. But they probably will need this off the ground before they can get started. Obviously, how it's all going to work is, yeah. The ECHL, the minors to the minors, but there's some talent here, and obviously it's a bit of a feeder system to the AHL, which is a feeder system to the NHL, so it's an appropriate league to be talking about. We're going to get into what's happening in England, so like that's how deep we're getting here, but yeah, the ECHL, they're actually just about to start. December the 11th will be the first puck drop, however, with a few omissions. 6 teams a few weeks ago confirmed that they wouldn't be going. Worcester, Maine, Reading, Newfoundland, Adirondack, and Brampton all deciding not to play a game this season and opting out. Players of all those teams become free agents too, so that's super exciting about what the talent pool might be in some of these other franchises, but it sucks that they're not going to be able to play. Also today, as per Jeff Merrick, confirming that 3 other teams will be opting out, and that's Cincinnati, Ottawa, and Kalamazoo Wings, and 2 teams, Toledo and Fort Wayne, are still undecided whether they'll start the season. So what was going to be 18 teams is now definitely down to 15 and might be down to 13 when it's all said and done. So I don't know if that sort of changes the way that how many games are being played or what the system's going to be like. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be tricky for the ECHL, seeing that that date is just around the corner and they may need to extend a little bit just to work out the way the season's going to work, obviously, with these 3 new omissions. The WHL, so now we'll sort of hit into the junior leagues in Canada, obviously. The WHL, very interesting sort of situation there. They were looking like to start at January the 8th. And there hasn't really been much talk since then. I think they reported that about mid to late October is what I've got in my spreadsheet here. I was kind of slowly putting all this information together. And yeah, so it seems pretty fine. Players reporting after the Christmas break. However, there's been a story on a Swiss website that a Swiss prospect, Simon Knack, I'm assuming that's how you say it, K-N-A-K, on a Swiss hockey site, said that the WHL may be pushed back to the start of February, which would probably line up, especially with all the COVID stuff that the World Junior's been going through, probably make sense, but we will see what happens, just because he's pretty likely to go back to his team in Europe if it gets postponed once more, so yeah. The OHL would be back February the 4th, with training camps being the 23rd. Of course, there's been a lot of controversy here because it's been reported that they're going to go with no hitting as per the Ontario rules right now. So it's going to be a season without that. It's going to be 40 games. 4 teams from each conference will make the playoffs. Pretty normal stuff, but nothing has been released schedule-wise thus far. So take all this with a grain of salt, whether they'll end up going ahead with the season. It's starting to get pretty late once you have February. You don't have much room to move. And I still don't think a widespread vaccine will be around in February. So the OHL is probably, out of all the junior leagues, probably the most at risk, just because it just seems a bit flimsy, their dates. I think the W are gonna push it back and then figure out what they need to do and get it going. I don't know about the OHL, but I guess we'll find it. The QMJHL, they actually started their season October the 2nd. It's been a nightmare, an absolute nightmare, and this has probably been the real reason that I think that some of the other junior leagues and some of the other leagues in general are probably going to push back their start date because of what's happened here. There's so many games that just haven't taken place. There's so many teams that have been in isolation. There's provinces in Quebec that have then, changed what the rules are so they can no longer play in their buildings. It's been a whole mess. There was like 7 teams at one point that had to go on quarantine for 14 days and get tested. It's just been a nightmare. As of November the 30th, they've suspended play until January the 3rd. It's just, there was so many teams sort of being put on hiatus or having issues being out of play, so it just made sense to just give it a pause, give it a reset, and start again. And just to show like the gap in between everything, the team with the most games played, bear in mind this league started in October 16, the team with played the least is 5. So there's a huge gap there of what teams have been able to play just because A, they've contracted COVID or there's certain lockdowns in their area, or the teams that they're versing have, and it's just been a nightmare. It's been really difficult in the queue. Credit to them for starting and trying to get it going, but it looks like it's going to be really difficult to get it going. NCAA. Look, I'll probably make another video about the NCAA, so I do apologize if you are a American college hockey fan. Really difficult to find what all the programs are doing. I know some of them have started playing in a small little bubble, and some people are some other teams are trying to get in there, but it's really hit and miss to find all the information. I kind of want to get this video out, so this is going to be more the European and junior leagues. I'll make a separate video on NCAA. I've sent a few emails out, and I'm just waiting for a few responses just to get the information right. I don't want to be like, oh, this team's doing that, and then we find out that they have been playing this whole time. It's hard to get some of that information, at least for me in Australia. So, I'll say sorry, but yeah, we'll move on. KHL, Continental Hockey League, obviously the Russian game. They've been playing since September the 3rd, and oh boy, it has not been fun. Again, postponed games. A team actually forfeited because they refused to travel to a certain spot because it was so COVID-ridden. It's been a lot. It really has been a lot. As of December the 4th, so I know it's a few days ago, 507 different players had COVID, which is pretty crazy. Well, actually, they said people, so I don't know if that I guess that must include coaches and everything else, right? So maybe not players, but yes, 500 people to keep it all moving along. So that is pretty crazy. Still 21 outstanding cases. Everyone else has recovered. But obviously the recovery can really take it out of you coming back. So, yeah. But yeah, look, they're still trucking on. So, yeah, it still seems to be moving along at a pretty brisk pace. But yeah, it's just a lot. As in fans in the arenas, this is the first time I can really talk about that. Some places have been fans of the arenas, other places there's been percentages, other times there's been none allowed. It just depends what region that they're in, but that's something that obviously we'll talk about a few other things. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like I said, lots of games postponed, but it looks like they'll at least get to their playoffs and get to the end of their season, so they're pretty fine. Germany. Well, they have their own cup called the Magenta Cup. Looks like the final for that's just about to be a few days. They were able to get pretty close through, and they've got the semi-finals and the finals still to come. But the actual DEL, the actual league there, is starting December the 17th, so that is all underway. And as of about 20 odd minutes ago of making this video, which was perfect timing because I was already recording this video and I just saw this. If you go to their website, the schedule is actually there, so you can actually see that it's there. There's been a few rumors that it was going to be December the 17th, but it's now officially on the website, so you can pretty much bank that they're at least going to give this a whirl to start the season. Germany has been a bit crazy when it comes to COVID in the sense that they had a bit of a second wave in most of Europe. And this comp needs fans in the building to be able to compete. So it looks like a lot of the places will be able to come back with 20% in the building. So that's why they kind of had to delay things just to get things moving along. But again, games should be on shortly. The Finnish league. Well, look, they were able to start. Some parts of Finland was able to get 40 to 60% of their arena filled, usually around that 50% average. Oh boy, and then there's like other regions where like you could have 10 people as a max. So like it was really difficult for Finland to sort of get this underway. Due to some of the restrictions that even got stricter than 10, they've now had to stop the season as of December the 2nd, so very recently. And it's going to be postponed to the 19th. Look like it will resume December the 26th. However, this is a league that needs fans. So they've come out and said it's going to be very difficult if we can't get fans in the arena. So maybe, probably more January is probably the more positive sense. I would say people will come back on the 26th. I just can't see play resuming. Then I think that will probably be when a new camp or something starts. Swedish Elite League, they've actually been playing since September the 19th. They have had huge outbreaks of COVID during that time, but they've been able to keep the train moving on, even though that some places have been unable to play due to restrictions or COVID outbreaks. But they've ultimately kept the wheel spinning. They had 50 maximums in arenas. That's just been pushed to 300 now, so they can start to at least get some fans in the building. I know fans in the building is, for some people, seems a bit crazy, but obviously for a lot of these European leagues, this is what they need to be able to survive. So yeah, they're all underway at the moment. Again, they've had outbreaks, much like other places. So yeah. So something a bit crazy in Sweden, that all the teams would rather a full regular season than the playoffs, which is pretty crazy compared to like the way it is there. But obviously in Europe, you've got like things like the EPL and soccer usually don't run on a final format. It's just whoever's first at the end of a season. So interesting that they want to do that for, I think it's the sponsorship dollars or something on those lines. But yeah, obviously doesn't look like that's going to go ahead, and there should be some playoffs. So yeah. So Austria's been underway for pretty much the season. Nothing really to report there. Obviously, it's really hard to look at some of these websites, but at least you can get a gleam of good understanding over what's happening. Belarus, same thing, although they've actually had attendance compared to Austria and the Czech Republic, who's another team below. So they've all been underway with not really too many delays. Austria, I think, was delayed about a week, if not 2, but everyone else sort of started when they were meant to, when they announced it, about the start of September. Denmark have 9 teams. I don't know if that's abnormal to have 9 teams in the Denmark League. But yeah, they've only had 9 play. Again, I don't know if that's just the normal amount. It's kind of a bit of an unknown league for me. They have some attendance at 375 people in the arena. France has been paused indefinitely. So yeah, just that's pretty much on hold. Great Britain has been suspended. They were meant to start at the start of December, but obviously they've pretty much gone into a new lockdown for a month. So yeah, can't see that coming back at all. Hungary, Romania, they have their own league. 0% attendance there, but they have been able to get it underway. Norway, 200 people in the arenas, at least as it stands right now. And they were delayed about 3 weeks to get started, but they are playing games. Poland, the PHL. For some reason, PHL just has a good ring to it. No attendance. They actually started earlier than they announced, so good on them. That's the first one I saw that was like earlier. Usually it's like delayed months, but nah, all fine on that side. Slovakia, no attendance. They started in October. Switzerland, they've been a nightmare in Switzerland. They've had a bunch of teams. That's a league that I've definitely been able to stay on top of. That's a league that teams haven't been able to, that have been on massive pauses. Rossi, the pick from last year's draft, contracted COVID after playing 1 game. It's been really difficult for them. They're still underway, but it's been really tough to get games going, and I think they've had moments where the league's been suspended, and Ukraine have been underway with 50 people in the arena, and the Champions Hockey League was just flat out cancelled. Just cancelled. Got the ban hammer out and cancelled. So yes, anyway, I hope this wasn't too fact heavy, and I hope you gleam at where all the leagues are at in the world right now, at least the pro leagues. If I missed a league out, it was probably just below the tier. I mean, there had to be a cutoff, right? Like, I'm not going to be like, the Australian Hockey League is this. Like, there had to be a cutoff at some point, so I do apologise if I did not get to your league. NCAA, I will make its own video in a few days, just when I get a bit more information back and can kind of talk to it a little bit more, just because, again, it's kind of all over the shop. I don't really understand how the NCAA works in the first place, so I don't think I went into it with a great mindset, just because obviously it's a sort of, you've got the 16, the Frozen 16 or whatever in that tournament, and then they go into the Frozen 4 and all that sort of stuff. And the NCAA stuff, like even basketball and that, just doesn't register to me over here at all. So it's just not a huge event, but I'm not sure what's happening there, but I know a bunch of games have been getting suspended and things haven't been going ahead just because I see it all through Twitter and whatnot. But anyway, hopefully this video wasn't too boring, and hopefully it's not too long. We'll see when I go to edit it and go, oh my god, that video is way too long. But if you did like this video, hit the like button. If you have made it all this way and you haven't subscribed, I did put a bit of effort into it, or 318, it really does help us out if you do. And comment down below, is there a league that you're most looking forward to the return of? I'm just keen to start watching some hockey. I need a league that has a streaming service to be back playing so I can just watch it. That would be great. And, you know, maybe knowing a few of their names would be great too. Like, if the French league started, no offense to the French league, they definitely play better hockey than what I can play. But I don't know anyone that plays there, so there's no point in me watching it. But yes, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. I know it's a bit crazy out there. Yeah, have a great day. Thank you. Bye.